My father was a Superman, but he couldn't fly, but he couldn't fly, even if he wanted to. My father was a Superman. When I close my eyes, when I close my eyes, all I think about is you. Even though I'm standing here in your absence, in your absence, you are near. I try to fight my way from fear. Could you help me? Could you help me fight these tears? Papa was a hero, was a hero, I swear. Fight these tears. Papa was a hero, was a hero, I swear, I swear, I swear. My father was a Superman. If you could see him fly, it would be through my eyes. My father was a Superman. What I would give, what I would give just to hold his hand. I traveled with him through this place where he would teach me to be the man. As my heart falls onto this page, I will miss you, I will miss you day by day. Was a hero, was a hero, I swear, day by day. Was a hero, was a hero, I swear, I swear. I swear.
Hero. Madiba was certainly a hero to the whole world, and the events from last week have certainly reinforced that. Good afternoon, I am Masitaba Mdolo.
And I'm Eloise Cupido. Welcome to this afternoon's edition of Live on 3. Today was the second day of Madiba lying in state, and thousands more people flocked to the Union buildings to pay their last respects before Madiba is flown down to Qunu.
And of course, a memorial concert took place that featured acts such as the Bala Brothers, Annie Lennox, Freshly Ground, to mention just a few. Let's take a look at the highlights of the concert.
So to the living God.
And those were the highlights of the body lying in state. We invite you to get in touch with us on all our social media platforms and share with us what you are going through, your thoughts, and perhaps some of the conversations you've been having. We would love to hear from you. The website www.youtube.com/SABC3 Madiba, or on Twitter www.twitter.com/SABC3 Madiba, or on Facebook it's www.facebook.com/SABC3 Madiba. You can also send in your messages via our SMS line 32728. The cost of your SMS says R1, and please begin your message with the word Madiba, followed by a space and then the message. The lines are also open for you to call in and share with us what you are feeling and what Madiba's passing has meant to you. The number to call is 011 714 5461.
If you have a video clip that you have posted on YouTube or Instagram and you'd like to submit your video to the SABC to make your voice heard, please send the link to SABC3 Madiba at sabc.co.za. From a young age, it was evident that Nelson Mandela would achieve great things. In 1940, during his second year at Fort Hare, Mandela was elected to the Student Representative Council. For some time, students had been dissatisfied with the food and lack of power held by the SRC.
And during this election, the majority of students voted to boycott unless their demands were met. Aligning with the student majority, Mandela resigned from his position. Seeing this as an act of insubordination, the university's Dr. Kerr expelled Mandela for the rest of the year, but gave him an ultimatum. He could return if he agreed to serve on the SRC. Needless to say, Nelson never returned.
To talk more about Nelson Mandela's character and conviction is Alistair Sparks, veteran writer, journalist and political commentator. Welcome to the show, Mr. Sparks. It's such a pleasure to have you here. It takes a man of great character to stand up at such a time and to take the stand that Madiba took at that point in time. What do you think does that say about who he is?
Well, I think it says a lot. And I think the real story began even earlier. We shouldn't forget that he grew up in the home of the paramount chief, the king of the Tembu tribe. And I think that prevented him from having his self-assurance crushed during the apartheid period and even before that. Because even when the chief magistrate of the Transkei, as it was then, called at the royal household, he was deferential to the king. And therefore, Madiba grew up really with a measure of protection so that his personality was intact. And of course, it was a giant of a personality, a powerful man, but also a man who was self-assured enough to be able to show compassion and empathy to his enemies as well as his friends. So he was a person who was whole and comfortable within himself. To an extent that very few African people at that time were able to. Because he had been able to grow up sheltered to that degree and inspired indeed by the king of the Tembu tribe. His father was ill, was dying, and gave him to the king and say, please bring up my son, who is a special son to me, please bring him up as you would your own. And he did just that. And frequently Madiba spoke of how he had sat in the court, the court of the king of the Tembu people, listened to the cases rolling past him. That only nurtured in him an admiration for the law, but in particular, he was fascinated, and he wrote about this and spoke about it, about leadership. He said, you know, it was like you lead like a shepherd. You lead from behind, and you persuade the people to follow you. He'd learnt this from watching the king perform. But when there's a moment of danger, then you must lead from the front.
Yes.
Because you must take the danger.
Because what
That's
example
exactly that.
did this set for the students at Fort Hare at the time? Like you say, you know, not only were the adults very reticent and used to following what the decree of the land was, but even the students themselves. So what example did this set for these students?
Absolutely. You know, one can only imagine. I was not a student.
Absolutely.
But I can imagine that this was inspiring for them, and it encouraged them to do the same. I mean, I should think everybody who encountered him at that time felt proud, and to the extent that they had suffered slights in the community at large, they thought, my goodness, you know, here's something special. Here's a man who's not afraid to stand up. He's not afraid to step out and challenge the rector or the vice-chancellor, as I think it was then called, of the university, and defy him. And take the expulsion, but nonetheless carry on with your life and never really regard that as a setback. I think it set the pattern for his life.
Absolutely.
But here's something additional to that. Some people would say that an expulsion from a university when education is such an important factor for you is a huge risk to take in order to set that example for people to stand up for what your beliefs are.
Yes, I think that's true, but don't forget that, you know, life itself is a university. And you learn from life. Indeed. And he did that. And then, of course, he moved up to the mines and he met Walter Sisulu, who also had no education. He said he could never believe that Walter Sisulu had not been beyond standard 6. What's that in today? It's grade 8, I think.
Grade 8.
Yeah, he couldn't believe it. This man was so erudite, so politically informed, working in Alexandra at that point as, believe it or not, an estate agent, because there was a certain amount of freehold title available in Alex Township. And all of these, I think Walter became a soulmate, but also something of an educator in the sense that Mandela went through the education of life's experience. Of course, he then went to Wits and ultimately to the University of South Africa and got his law degrees. But yes, I mean, he was willing to take that knockback. But you know, he really did study in the University of Life, I believe.
Leading
That's
from
where
the
his
front.
main lessons came from.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So soon after being expelled, young Nelson ran away to Johannesburg, and in 1942 he joined the African National Congress. After the break, we talk more with Alistair Sparks about Madiba, the Euroson of Africa.